What's going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about how to modify your program if you're not feeling too good, or if you're short on time, or if you miss a day, or whatever circumstance might comes up. I'm going to give you some basic rules that you can follow to make adjustments to your program to know that you're still staying on track with everything. So, for example, our team programs are typically 5 days per week, whether it's the weightlifting program, powerlifting program, or we have a hybrid program. And so the first thing to consider is if you're not feeling too good, if you show up and you're a little tired or you don't feel like you're recovered enough, and a good rule of thumb to know if you are recovered enough is you should be able to improve at least 1%, whether that's the reps that you're doing or the weight that you're doing. In some areas, you should be able to make at least a 1% improvement. And that's how you know if you are progressing and if you are recovering well enough. But if you show up and you didn't get a good night's sleep or you just feel like you're under recovered, then the first thing that you want to do is lower the volume. So lower the amount of sets, lower the amount of sets first, and still try to keep the same intensity or the same weight, because the volume is what tends to tax your recovery capacity. The volume is what drives the stimulus. The intensity is what provides the stimulus, generally speaking. Volume drives the stimulus in to create the adaptation. So the volume is where people typically get into trouble. And so that's typically the first thing that you want to modify if you do need to modify your program. So as a general rule, cut all the sets in half. That would be step one. And then step two would be drop the reps by 25%. So notice we're still trying to keep the intensity the same as much as we can, because that's still going to, over the long term, it's still going to give our nervous system the stimulus that it needs to still maintain what we're doing, to maintain the progress that we've been making. But lastly, if you do need to drop the intensity, if you're just feeling like absolute garbage, and you need to drop the intensity as well, then also drop the intensity down 25%. And then just do what you can. Even going through the movement, because a lot of times people don't feel good and so they just don't show up or they give themselves excuses not to go train. But obviously, if you're a competitive athlete, you can still show up and you can still, even if it's just bar work, you're still practicing the movement. You're still gaining that skill instead of just completely not doing anything. And so obviously that would be the last option, is just if you need to, completely, you feel like there's going to be no, like if you're sick or you feel like there's going to be no benefit to you doing any kind of training, then that's what we would recommend. Like go do some yoga, go do some stretching, go for a walk, do something more restorative. So that's the basic premise if you're not feeling good. Now, if for some reason there's a time constraint, the way that the programs are typically written are that if you can at least get the main things done, and they're written in order of importance and complexity. So the most important and complex thing is the first exercise or the first couple exercises, and then the accessories are at the end of the workout, typically. So if you're short on time, you can at least, if you get the first thing done, you'll at least have gotten the most important thing done. And then as far as the number of days, is for some reason you can't make all of the days of your program. Typically, if you do miss a day, instead of trying to stress yourself out about trying to make it up or trying to do anything, just continue on into the next week and just pick back up where you left off. Obviously, if you're missing the same day every single week, then that's where you might want to kind of, disperse the main lifts into some other parts of your workout. And again, as a general rule, the hardest things are first, and then the easier things are last. So you'll want to put the main exercises, the main components towards the beginning of your workouts if you have to take that approach. So those are just a few things there. So to recap, if you're not feeling good, firstly, lower the amount of sets. Secondly, lower the amount of reps. And then lastly, if you have to, lower the intensity, lower the weight. And then obviously, if you have to completely take a day off, then just pick back up where you left off. Don't stress yourself out about trying to add things in or do extra days, because this is a long-term game. And missing one day out of 100 isn't going to kill you. But obviously, if you have a habit of missing days on a regular basis, then that is going to add up. So I hope this was helpful. And if there's any questions around this, or if you need more clarity on any of these points, feel free to leave us a comment or reach out to me directly, and I'd be happy to answer them or make another video to clarify some things. But if not, enjoy this video, like, subscribe, and be ready for some more. Talk to you guys next time.